Hey guys, GFan93 here. Just wanted to give you an update of the motor. You know, a picture's worth 1,000 words and a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So basically what's going on is when I have both intake valves closed, I'll spin the motor over. Okay, we heard the compression come out. Both valves are now closed. And you see, because they're not moving, when I hook air up to the cylinder, you can hear the air coming out through the carburetor. So now if I loosen up the intake valve, no change. If I loosen up the exhaust valve, you can hear the change. Now on the driver's side, the problem I had was mostly with the intake valves. So I had to shim those 50 thousandths. And the exhaust valves I had to shim 30 thousandths, all except for one cylinder. So just like I did cylinder or valve by valve on the driver's side, I'll be doing that on the passenger side here. So I got the other side buttoned up, and you know, everything seems pretty tight. The preload is good on the lifters. I don't have any air leaking past the valves. And now obviously you can hear the difference when I take the air off, that all the air in the cylinder is coming out. So I'm going to keep going through and going valve by valve, and once I get done and I get this thing started, I'll give you guys an update. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, so I put a 30 thousandths shim under the exhaust valve. I got air in the cylinder now, so now I'm going to go ahead and tighten the valve. You should be able to hear the difference. So that's no good. And if we do the same thing on the intake valve, we'll go ahead and tighten that down. And you heard the difference there. So that's what I'm fighting. So basically it's just a dance between both valves and getting the shims right, so that there's still a preload on the rocker, on the push. I'm sorry, there's still a preload on the lifters, and that there's no slop in the rocker arm, and the valves are actually closed fully when they're supposed to be closed. So this is what we'll be dicking around with for the rest of the day. It took me about 2 hours to do the other side, so hopefully this side about the same time. So when I get done and I get it locked up and I come in with my final measurements, I'll update this. Okay, so now we got 60 thousandths under the exhaust, and still nothing under the intake, so we'll tighten down the exhaust, and we're still not close. Okay guys, so I think I finally got this dialed in. Looks like it's going to be 50 thousandths on both the intake and the exhausts. Got the valves closed, cylinder is filled with air, and now when we go to tighten this down, there's 20 and no leaks. And there's 20 and no leaks. So 3 more cylinders to go. So basically it's just a matter of taking your time, going through, making sure that once the rockers are torqued, there's no leaking, you know, that the valves are closed when they're supposed to be closed, and there's no play in the rockers, and there's a little play in the push rods. So I know I got about the right preload. I didn't go through and check because there just isn't enough room to get in here with a scribe and all that. And I am not pulling this intake manifold back off. But it's close enough. I know it's going to be okay. So that's that. So now I just got to run down the other 3 cylinders here, and hopefully after that all my issues will be over as far as, you know, getting this motor complete. As I said, all in all, as much research as I did about this company, I'm kind of really disappointed about the condition that they shipped the motor. You know, when I went down to the machine shop, the guy who runs it, his name is Tim, said that, you know, any builder should have done this regardless of what they thought was taken off, or how little they thought they ground the seats, or anything like that. So it's just trial and error. You know, keep going till you get the right the right adjustment on there, and that's it. All right, guys. I appreciate you putting up with me, and you know, all the guys on the IFSJA site. You know, Risto and Colonel. You guys have been a tremendous help. There's no way I would have done this without blowing my brains out without you. So again, thank you to everybody, and we'll see you when the motor's wrapped up.